Good morning. It's another day for yoga. I am really grateful to be here with you. Today, in our Summer of the Mighty Oak series, we are looking at the branches of an oak tree and how there are two things that primarily motivate our actions: love and fear. If you get right down deep into it, everything comes from one or the other. And when we feel fear, we contract, we get smaller, we get tighter, and our experiences really reflect that. But when we're making a decision from love, from a place in our heart that speaks of joy and freedom and truth, then we expand and we grow outward, and we branch out and have more opportunities, more love, more growth. It's a wonderful way to live. It is something to do with intention, because I have discovered that just like winging it doesn't work. I really have to apply hope and faith in the process, because it doesn't come easy sometimes, but it's worth it. And as we connect today with our bodies and breathe and just get centered, I invite you to take all of the cares of your day and set them aside. We are just going to focus on right now, the present moment. We are going to just feel calm and secure and peaceful within. You can deal with those problems later. They'll still be there, but you'll come at it from a more grounded, wholesome place, I hope. So let me just adjust this a little bit. I wanted to get my roses in because they're pretty. The lady that we bought this house from planted them, and she doesn't know how often I think about her, and I'm grateful to her for what she did to make it beautiful. But these roses and other plants around are sure special, and they mean something to me. So there's kind of a bird party out here this morning. The birds are really singing, the sun's really shining, and I'm ready for a good time. I hope you are. Let's get started. Okay, making my way over to my yoga mat. I invite you to do the same. We're going to start in child's pose. So to get to child's pose, we can start on our knees like this, and then we just sink back down onto our heels, and arms can come up and over, and we gently, gently, gently come down to the mat. Forehead touching all the way. If it's more comfortable, you might want to spread your knees out so wide like a child's pose, bringing into the sides of your mat, and just come down and rest. This is a resting place where we can always return when we are challenged by a practice, or when our emotions are saying we need a break, we need a rest. You can always return to child's pose, which is a safe place, but it's also an opportunity to continue stretching. So we're going to start by just doing some box breathing here. So imagine there's 4 sides to a box. As you inhale, imagine going up one side of the box, and then you hold, going over the top of the box. Exhale, going down this other side of the box, and then hold, coming back to the starting place. So we'll do that together for a count of 4 at each length of the box. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale hold, exhale, and hold. Very good. Okay. Doing some breathing exercises is a great way to get centered, focused on the present moment. And let's move up. We're going to place one hand in the top opposite corner of our mat, and we're going to sink right back down onto our heels again for a nice side body stretch, lengthening and strengthening as we go. Breathe into that. Okay, coming back up, let's bring that hand down, and we're going to place the other hand in the opposite corner of our mat, coming back down on our heels for a stretch. I'm a believer in slow yoga. I find it gives me a greater sense of wholeness. Coming back out of that, bring your knees right below your hips and your wrists right below your shoulders. We're going to go into some cat-cow stretches. So to do this, we go into cow as our belly lowers close to the ground. Our head comes up, shoulder blades drawn back on our back for a deep inhale. And then as we exhale, we round the spine, tucking in the pelvis, bringing the back all the way into an arch like a cat. Head comes down. And then inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. Inhale cow. Exhale cat. Inhale cow. And exhale for cat. Good, okay. Bring your forehead all the way down to your mat. And your arms can come right above. If you want, you can interlock those fingers for a bit of a tighter pull. This is called rabbit pose. And then gently we're going to lift from that. Arms come sweeping down all the way through and up over our heads. Fingers can interlock again if you'd like to pull that stretch to the top. Just breathe. And then we're going to come back down, flowing with our breath. So take a big inhale. And then exhale back down to rabbit. Arms come down in a sweeping motion. Head meets the mat. And inhale back up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. And your pace might be a little different from mine, and that is fine. There is not one way to be. Okay, this time coming back down, place your hands in all fours again, and tucking your toes, come back into downward facing dog. Now, we're going to pedal those feet up and down. I like to give my down dog some sway, especially first thing in the morning. Finding movement in all of the muscles involved, especially in my legs, my tight hips. Good morning, body. It is good to be with you today. All right, let's take an inhale forward into plank or kneeling plank pose. And then gently exhale down, chaturanga. Inhaling up for cobra. Exhaling back down as you tuck your toes into downward facing dog. Let's do that again. So we inhale forward for cobra, for plank. Exhaling down, chaturanga. Inhaling up, now it's cobra. And exhaling, downward dog. Good, inhale forward, plank or kneeling plank. Exhaling down. Inhale up for cobra or up dog if you want to come up on the flats of your feet. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time. Inhale forward for a plank. Exhale down, chaturanga. Inhale up and exhale down. Very good. Okay. Now you can either step your feet forward or walk your hands back, but we're going to come into a forward fold. So we are forward folded over our knees. Opposite hand grabs opposite elbow. As we dangle for just a moment here, again finding movement. Slowly, gently. Okay, and we'll inhale with our hands on our shins for a half lift. Exhale back down and inhale, rise up. Good morning, sun. Good morning, day. Hands come to heart center. Anjali Mudra. It is good to be alive. Let's do that again. We're going to swan dive back down all the way into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, down, forward fold. Inhale, rise, up. Hands come to heart center. All right. We're going to move into warrior one. To do so, bring one foot forward. One foot steps back. The distance between your feet doesn't really matter. You do what feels comfortable for today. So, with your forward foot, you want the side of your foot to align with the side of your mat, and your back foot should be at a bit of an angle. So it's in a separate railroad track from your front foot, and the toes are pointing towards the top corner of your mat. All right. So to begin warrior one, we put our feet in place and we ground them down, especially that front foot, all four corners of the foot coming into the mat. And then we exhale the front knee forward so we just see the tips of our toes coming over the top of that knee. All right, inhale, rise your arms up. This is warrior one. Breathe into it. You might feel some heat generating, especially in your legs. If it gets to the point of pain, step out, but if it just feels a little uncomfortable, breathe into that discomfort. You've got this. Okay, we're going to straighten that front leg, bringing our arms down. We're going to bend over. Hands come behind. If you want, they can interlock. And breathe. Okay, let's inhale up. Coming back, warrior one. Then we can exhale down, humble warrior. See if you can go a little lower than you did last time. And then let's continue that with the flow of our breath. So we inhale up for our warrior and exhale down and up. Just bending that front knee as we go. And exhale down. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Very good. Okay, coming back up, gently turn that front foot to the side, and the other foot can turn as well. So you've got a wide-legged stance. Feet are a little wider than the hips. And we're going to swan dive down into a wide-legged fold. And here I like to also bring movement dangling from side to side. Pendulum pose. Slow and easy, waking up your body, remembering what a great day it is. It's time now to feel jealous of anyone that isn't you. You are so lucky to be here in the space that you're in. Okay, very good. Finding that movement in your pendulum. All right, we're going to come back up to center, but then we're going to turn that other foot. So now the front of our mat is what was the back of our mat. So the front foot aligns with the side of our mat. The back foot steps to the side, so it's in a different railroad track, and it angles a little bit so that the toes meet the top corner of your mat. And we're going to do the same thing again. So let's go into Warrior One by gently bending that front knee. So you just see your toes over top. Your hips should be square with the front of your mat, so they're in line, they're straight. And then we inhale, arms up, and just hold this for a few breaths. We're going to exhale down into Humble Warrior by straightening that front leg, not all the way straight, just as straight as feels good. If you want to connect those hands together, you can. Breathing. If you want to feel humbled in life, there is nothing that works the way admitting that you have an addiction works. I spent many years in a food addiction, not willing to accept it. Inhale back up for Warrior One. I used food to feel good when I wasn't feeling good. It was a solution, but it was never satisfying. And it really humbled me to say, this is something I don't have control over. I cannot do this myself. In program, we call it the gift of desperation. Coming back down, Humble Warrior again. It was shortly after I was able to be honest with myself and say, I can't do this. This is beyond me for change. That experiences started to flow into my life to prepare me for a new way. Okay, let's flow with our breath. So we inhale up and exhale back down. Inhaling up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Let's do it one more time. Coming up, and exhale back down. Very good. Okay, turn that front foot. Let's go into a forward fold again. If you have you can place it right here, that way it's more comfortable. If your hands don't come all the way to the mat, that's okay. They can rest on your legs. Forward fold. Okay, from here, bring one hand to the center of your mat, and the other hand comes high overhead as we twist. If you don't have a block, maybe put your hand on your leg and twist the other hand up, looking high in the sky. I've got kind of a Simpsons blue sky, white clouds day ahead of me. Although I'm seeing more clouds than blue, which is just fine. Okay, returning both hands to the center. I'm going to plant the opposite hand in the middle and raise the other into the sky, breathing as I go. Okay, that hand floats back down to the mat as I rise up very gently with intention. Okay, hands on hips, bringing feet together. We're going to go into tree pose. So to do that, I choose one foot to ground into the mat. Again, four corners of the feet, all very secure. And I take the other foot and just bring the heel to align with the ankle of the planted foot. I'm going to make sure that my knee is pointed to the side of my mat. We've got a 90-degree angle happening here. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to inhale that foot just a little higher up. And now this might be a good place to stop. My toes are resting on the mat. Or it's okay to go higher too if today is a day that calls for it. Okay, so I'm going to inhale that foot up a little higher. To protect the knee, it's good to stay below the knee or above the knee, but not on the knee. Okay, I'm going to go just a little higher today. And as I find balance in this pose, I look for one thing to focus on. It's called my drishti. The point of focus will help me be secure. And there's a whole life lesson in that, isn't there? One point. If I'm looking all around, it'll be harder to balance. Okay, and it's funny, I usually find myself looking at like a hole or a crack, something, a blemish that's not supposed to be there. That's what I find interesting. That's what I want to attract my gaze to. When you're ready, sweep your arms up, sweep your branches up. We're talking about branches and oak trees. Sweep up your branches and notice how they expand. How your life expands when you act from a place of love. I am feeling love today. I hope you are too. Not just feeling love, but coming to my mat today to do this practice with you came from a place of love in my heart. Not every action I do comes from love. I have plenty driven by fear, but this one was definitely motivated by love today. All right, you can bring your hands to prayer pose if you want. Keep them on your hips if that feels good. Lower that leg down with an exhale and shake out the standing foot. Good job, foot. You are working, getting it done. All right, we're going to plant the opposite foot into the mat. Bring the other to align. The heel comes to connect with the ankle. Pointing that knee out to the side, we inhale that foot up. Stopping and resting at a point that feels good for you. Inhaling a little higher if you want. And just going as high as the day calls for. If your tree is swaying, that's okay. That's okay. The point is that you're trying. Coming up and down, that's okay. It took me a long time to find balance in tree pose. All right, when you're ready, raise those branches up high. Extend, expand in love. This is what we're here for. This is where the solutions come from. It's okay if you're swaying, it's okay if you're coming in and out of it. A tree that does not bend will break. If you find your foot coming down to the mat, you found your edge. That's great, something to celebrate. Okay, when you're ready, you can go ahead and lower that foot. So good to find physical balance at some point in your day. It can lead to mental and emotional balance, and then that gets reflected in the world around you. There's so much power in yoga. Let's come all the way down to the mat. We're going to come to a cross-legged position, easy pose. Hands on your knees. We're done with standing poses for the day. Now we're just going to start to unwind a little. All right, taking a deep breath, place one hand on the opposite knee. The other hand comes behind you to ground into the earth behind your hip. And we're going to inhale from the root chakra, from the base of our tailbone, all the way up our spine and twist, looking over our shoulder as far as we can see. Don't go too far. Know your limits. This is gentle. I don't know if you can hear what I can hear, but I'm noticing birds in the distance and my children playing in the room right next to it. Okay, let's exhale, coming back. We'll do the same thing again. Place the other hand on the opposite knee. The opposite hand comes behind, and we're going to inhale from the root of our spine and twist, looking over our other shoulder, and I get to look at these pink roses. Okay, let's come back to center again. Bringing our arms high overhead. We're going to interlock our fingers and just twist to one side, getting another side stretch there. Breathing into it. And then coming back to center, we'll do the same thing, other side. Okay, very good. Now we're going to keep our hands up, getting a nice back bend. We're going to exhale them down long in front of us, bending forward over our legs. Now maybe you're bendier than I am and you can go all the way down and touch your head to the mat. Or maybe you're more in a seated position right now, and that is okay too. A lot of people think yoga is for flexible people, and that is not true. Yoga is for anyone with a body that wants to feel connected to their body. So go as low as feels good to you today and breathe into it. And I was talking a minute ago about addiction and how humbling it was to accept that I had an addiction, and how that drove me to seek help and support from a higher power. I read a quote this week from Gary Zukov, who said, "When you discover you have an addiction, our cultural response is to feel shame." Let's inhale up, arms up, all the way to the sky, and exhale. This time we're going to go to one side, and we're just going to exhale over one leg, stretching muscles a little differently this time. But Gary Zukov said, we need not feel shame when we discover an addiction. In fact, we need rejoice. This is something to celebrate, because we have noticed something we have been put on the earth to heal. And it's my experience that healing magnifies everything in life. Not just the wound, but everything connected to that wound gets better. It's an opportunity. It's not a punishment. Instead of why me, we say we're grateful. I at least say that I am grateful. Inhaling back up. Exhaling over the other leg. I truly am grateful to identify my addiction and be working through it, because I feel like I'm learning how to live as an adult, kind of for the first time. It's hard to explain. It's really the only kind of thing I think you can understand once you're doing it. Those that know. It's a wonderful way to live. All right, we're going to come back to center again. Place one hand behind you. Opposite arm comes up to the sky, just reaching over. And then that hand comes down behind you. Opposite hand comes up, reaching over. Again, flowing with our breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Okay, very good. Let's move down to our backs. Turning on our mat so that our feet are at one end and we're lying down on the other. And actually, we're going to bring our feet, we're going to plant our heels right below our hips. Lying down on the mat. Take one ankle from one foot and lift it up into the air, and then cross it over your raised knee. So this is called a figure 4. And you can kind of adjust your hips to find some stretch here. And this can be a great place to stop, but if you want to go a little deeper, wrap your arms around the thigh or shin of the other leg and just pull it in close as feels good to you. And breathe into this.
When you're ready, exhale that leg back down. Alternate leg meets the mat. And we're going to lift the other leg, so we're placing the other ankle over top of the standing knee. Not really standing knee, what should we call it? The raised knee pointing to the sky. Okay, figure 4. Adjusting your hips, you can feel some stretch there, or if you want to go deeper, bring that raised knee closer to you. Just holding it in with your hands interlocked around your leg. Feels so good. I will never claim that everyone has an addiction, and I don't want to make it sound like I think that. Many don't. But I do, and I know many who do. We can be addicted to things we take in, to our bodies, and we can be addicted to actions that we take. For example, screen time. Ooh, that's a tough one. Or working too much. Anytime we do something or ingest something to escape from the present moment, and it becomes a habit that we can't stop, then we can celebrate because we have something to heal. Lower that foot to the ground, releasing the other one as well. We're going to take both legs and swing them over to the side. So my hands are in cactus. Means they're just out to the side. I try to make sure that both shoulders are planted into the mat as both legs meet one another, crossing over for our final twist on the mat. I use one hand to anchor those knees back into the earth. Gives me a little extra pull that feels nice. And then let's lift both knees and cross them over to the other side. Same thing. Planting both shoulders into the mat. One hand comes down to anchor those knees down. The other arm can be cactus or just down, straight out, whatever feels good. We're just listening to our bodies today. We just want to feel good. And that's okay. That's what we should be doing. Life is supposed to feel good. And when it doesn't, when it gets hard and we find ourselves responding from fear, going back to our mats, connecting with our bodies can remind us of what we love, of the source of love. When that flows through, everything changes. Our perspective is different. And we can act from a different place, finding strength, security, and even joy in our trials. I discovered that recently as my basement flooded. And it took a long time for me to get to that loving place. But I'm there now. Okay, coming back. Bring those feet flat on the ground. We're going to tuck in to a little ball, wrapping arms around the legs. I want you to tense every muscle, tighten everything, squeeze as much as you can. Your face, your shoulders, your back, your arms, your stomach, your feet, your legs. Tighten, tighten, squeeze, squeeze. And release. Come all the way down to the mat. Stretched out. Gently relax into Shavasana. This is our final yoga pose, the ultimate resting pose. And in Shavasana, we let every muscle relax. Sometimes it takes intention to do that, but we can. And as you lay here in Shavasana, imagine that you are a lake filled with water, and there is not a breeze to be seen. There is not a wave. All is still. The surface is glassy. And you don't have to really control your breath, just notice your breath. And the next time you come to the top of an inhale, imagine one droplet of water coming down from the sky and landing on the glassy surface of your lake. And as it plinks down into the water, ripples extend across your whole body with your exhale. So you inhale, and at the top, the water droplet falls. Exhale and feel those ripples cascading throughout your entire body. When you're ready, begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. The glassy surface of the lake or the ripples all begin to evaporate as you come back to your mat. Turn to one side, and then, as it feels good, gently begin to raise up into a seated position. The final message I want to leave is just to reiterate that healing is possible. That's what we're here for. And when we acknowledge that and step into our process, our bodies will lead the way. They are our teachers. And we can trust that the people and the ideas that flow into our lives from there will guide us as it feels right inside of our bodies. And we can heal. I invite you to bring your hands into prayer pose. Bring your thumbs to your forehead. May your mind be clear. May your thoughts
Be generous. Bringing our thumbs to our lips, may we speak words of truth and love to others, and most especially to ourselves. And then bringing our thumbs to our hearts, may our hearts be open and soft and filled with love. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.